If you don't force yourself to do what matters, life will quietly punish you for avoiding it. This isn't just a catchy phrase, it's real. It's happening right now to millions of people who know what's important, but still don't do it. They wake up, get lost in tasks that feel urgent, reply to things that don't matter, and scroll through hours of distraction. Then the day ends and they wonder why they feel behind, tired, and stuck. That feeling, that silent pressure building inside, is life responding to what you're avoiding. This chapter is not about being perfect, it's about being honest. Honest enough to admit that you've been putting off the very things that would change your life. Honest enough to say that comfort has cost you progress, and strong enough to choose action from this moment on. If you're done making excuses, if you're ready to focus only on what will truly move your life forward, then keep listening. This could be the moment that changes your direction completely. Force your mind to do what you keep delaying. You know what separates the people who build something meaningful in their life from those who keep wishing for it. It's not talent, it's not luck, and it's not opportunity. It's the ability to force yourself to do what you keep delaying. Every person has something they've been putting off. Maybe it's a dream they talk about. Maybe it's a goal they write down every new year. Maybe it's a promise they made to themselves long ago, and deep down they know it matters. They wait for the right time, the right mood, the right moment, and that moment never comes. The truth is, your mind will never give you permission to do what's uncomfortable. Your mind wants comfort, it wants safety, it wants routine. But comfort never built a strong person. Comfort never created a leader, never shaped a life worth remembering. You have to take control of your own thoughts before they take control of your time. When you catch yourself saying, "I'll do it later," that's the very moment you must move, because later becomes never. The problem is not that people don't know what to do. Most people know exactly what they should do. The problem is they don't feel like doing it. They wait for inspiration. They wait for motivation. But waiting is a trap. The people who win in life don't wait to feel ready. They build the habit of acting before the feeling comes. When you force your mind to move when it doesn't want to, you start building self-respect. You begin to trust yourself again. How many times have you told yourself you'll start tomorrow? How many times have you promised that next week will be different? Every delay weakens your belief in yourself. Every broken promise chips away at your confidence. But every time you take action, even when it's small, you rebuild that belief. You tell your mind, "I'm in charge here." That's how transformation begins. Not in big moments, but in small decisions when no one is watching. When you delay something important, you create mental weight. It sits on your mind all day. You can't enjoy anything fully, because in the back of your mind, you know there's something you should be doing. That's the cost of procrastination. It steals your peace before it steals your success. You can't rest peacefully when you know you're living below your potential. The only cure is action. Start the thing you've been avoiding. Forcing yourself doesn't mean being harsh or cruel to yourself. It means being honest. It means saying, "I may not want to do this right now, but I'll do it because my future deserves it." It's a mature decision. It's not about feelings. It's about priorities. When you live by feelings, life controls you. When you live by priorities, you control life. I've seen people with incredible dreams never move an inch because they waited for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It changes direction every day. Motivation is stable. It doesn't depend on how you feel. It depends on who you decide to be. When you act with discipline, you're teaching your mind a new pattern. To move when it's time to move, not when it feels good. Imagine waking up and doing what you know is important before your mind has time to argue. That's how winners think. They don't negotiate with their excuses. They don't wait for inspiration. They understand that the work they avoid today becomes the regret they carry tomorrow. Forcing yourself today is how you earn pride tomorrow. When you start forcing yourself, something powerful happens inside you. You realize that your thoughts are not your master, they're your tools. You can feel tired and still act. You can feel uncertain and still cry. You can feel fear and still move forward. That's the essence of real growth. It's not about removing fear or doubt. It's about acting in spite of them. Every human has two voices. One says, "Do it later." The other says, "Do it now." The voice you listen to becomes your life. If you obey the voice of comfort, you'll build a comfortable life, but never a meaningful one. If you obey the voice of strength, you'll build a life that feels alive. Every day you choose which voice gets stronger. The mind gets trained by repetition. The more you act quickly, the easier it becomes to act quickly again. The more you delay, the easier it becomes to delay again. You might think it's hard to start, but you know what's harder. Living with the pain of knowing you could have done more. Living with the weight of regret. Living with the question, what if I had just started? You don't want that question to follow you for years. You want the satisfaction of saying, I did it even when I didn't feel like it. So how do you force yourself to act when your mind resists? You start by simplifying. Don't think about the whole journey. Just think about the next action. If it's exercise, just put on your shoes. If it's studying, just open the book. If it's making a call, just dial the number. Once you begin, momentum takes over. The hardest part is the first step. Once you start, your body and mind align. You also need to remind yourself of your why. Why does this matter? What are you fighting for? What will your life look like if you stay the same? When you connect your task to a real reason, it gains emotional power. You stop seeing it as a chore and start seeing it as a choice that builds your future. Discipline isn't built overnight. It's built daily through repetition. Every time you force yourself to act, you strengthen your willpower. Just like training a muscle. The first time is hard. The second time is easier, and soon it becomes your nature. You'll reach a point where doing the hard thing feels normal and avoiding it feels uncomfortable. That's the turning point. That's when you know you've changed. People often ask why some individuals seem unstoppable. It's not because they enjoy hard work more. It's because they've trained themselves to stop listening to excuses. They've learned that comfort is the enemy of progress. They've accepted that pain is temporary, but pride is permanent. They don't need motivation, and results come only from consistent action. You can't think your way into discipline. You have to act your way into it. Action rewires your brain faster than any thought. Every time you move forward when it's difficult, you're carving a new path in your mind that says, I follow through. You're teaching yourself to be reliable. That reliability becomes your strength. It builds trust not just in others' eyes, but in your own. Your goals don't care about your mood. The world doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Success belongs to those who act when others are still deciding. That's the mindset that changes everything. You stop being a dreamer and become a doer. You stop talking about your future and start building it. You must realize that delay is a thief. It doesn't take your dreams all at once. It steals them one day at a time. Every day you delay, you lose an opportunity to grow. You lose a bit of confidence. You lose a bit of self-belief. That's why you must act now, not tomorrow. Because tomorrow never arrives. When you force yourself to act, you also start controlling your emotions better. You become less reactive. You start feeling more grounded. You start being a prisoner of your impulses. That's the kind of control that gives peace. Real peace doesn't come from comfort. It comes from mastery. When you know you can rely on yourself, you stop fearing challenges. You might feel resistance. Resistance is just the mind trying to protect you from effort. But effort is not your enemy. It's your way to freedom. Every bit of effort you put in pays you back in confidence and clarity. Think of your life like this. Every day you have a few important things to do that move you forward. Everything else is noise. Most people fill their days with noise because it's easy. You must become different. You must choose the important over the easy. That's how you rise above average. Start by choosing one thing you've been delaying and do it today. Don't wait until you feel like it. Feel the discomfort and move anyway. When you finish, notice how your mind changes. You'll feel lighter, clearer, stronger. That feeling is proof that you're growing. You don't have to fix your entire life overnight. You just have to take control of one small decision at a time. Every time you do what's important instead of what's easy, you're creating a new identity. You're becoming someone who follows through, someone who doesn't need to be pushed, someone who leads themselves. In the end, life rewards people who act. Not the smartest, not the luckiest, but the ones who move when it's hard. The ones who push past the noise and do what matters. That's who you must become. The kind of person who doesn't wait for perfect conditions. The kind who acts because they understand that time is life, and wasting time is wasting yourself. So force your mind to do what you keep delaying. Do it because your future self is watching. Do it because every step forward counts. Do it because you deserve the life that action brings. The strength you want, the success you want, the peace you want, they all begin the moment you stop delaying and start doing. Focus only on actions that truly change your life. Most people are busy from morning until night, yet few are actually moving their life forward. They wake up, rush into tasks, answer messages, check updates, handle small problems, and end the day feeling exhausted but unfulfilled. The reason is simple. They are spending their days doing what keeps them occupied, not what changes their life. There's a big difference between activity and progress. You can fill every hour and still stay in the same place. Real growth starts when you begin to focus only on actions that truly make a difference in your life. If you want to change your future, you have to get serious about how you spend your energy. Life doesn't reward effort alone, it rewards effort directed in the right place. Every person has a limited amount of time, attention, and energy. You can either spend it or invest it. Spending gives you a temporary feeling of movement, but investing gives you transformation. The question you must ask yourself every day is what I'm doing right now building the life I want? If the answer is no, you're just filling time. If the answer is yes, you're building a future. Focusing only on what truly matters requires honesty. It's easy to lie to yourself by calling business productivity. You check emails, scroll through feeds, handle small issues, and tell yourself you're getting things done. But deep down, you know these actions don't really change your life. They keep you comfortable. They give you the illusion of control. Growth happens when you stop hiding behind distractions and start facing the real work, the uncomfortable, demanding, important work that pushes your life forward. Every person has a few key actions that, if done consistently, can change everything. For some, it's mastering their skill. For others, it's improving their health, learning, or building something meaningful. The problem is, these actions are rarely urgent. They don't shout for your attention. The unimportant things scream loudly. The important things whisper. If you're not intentional, your days get filled with noise and your future gets neglected. You have to train yourself to listen to the whispers, the quiet but crucial actions that shape who you become. When you focus only on what truly matters, you simplify your life. You start cutting out the unnecessary. You stop chasing every opportunity. You stop saying yes to things that don't serve your direction. You become selective. That's not being selfish. Every yes you give is a no to something else. Every minute you waste on something small is a minute stolen from something meaningful. The people who build powerful lives are not the ones who do more, they're the ones who do less but with greater intention. Most people are afraid to focus because it feels like they're missing out. They want to keep every door open. But you can't go deep if you keep jumping from one thing to another. Depth requires focus. Excellence requires focus. Fulfillment requires focus. When you decide what's truly important, you free yourself from the trap of trying to do everything. You stop being scattered. You start being directed. If you want to see a real shift, you have to define what important means to you. Not to your boss, not to your friends, not to society, to you. What kind of life do you want to live? What kind of person do you want to become? What truly gives your life meaning? Once you know that, you'll see that most of the things you do every day don't align with that vision. That's your wake-up call. You have to start living on purpose, not by habit. The most important actions are usually simple, but they demand consistency. Reading daily, working out, improving your craft, saving money, building relationships, reflecting on your goals. These are not complicated, but they require focus and discipline. The unimportant actions, on the other hand, are easy and comfortable. That's why they're so tempting. They give quick rewards, but long-term emptiness. The important ones give slow rewards, but long-term fulfillment. You have to choose which game you want to play, the quick and empty, or the slow and meaningful. Focusing on what matters will often make you uncomfortable. You'll have to say no to people. You'll have to turn down things that look exciting, but lead nowhere. You'll have to work on things that don't give instant results. You'll have to face boredom and resistance. But that's how you grow. Comfort never taught anyone to reach their potential. The moments that feel difficult are the moments that shape you. One of the biggest traps in modern life is being busy without direction. People confuse motion with progress. They mistake exhaustion for accomplishment. You can run fast on a treadmill and still stay in the same spot. Real progress happens when your effort is guided by clarity. Before you start your day, ask yourself, what 3 things would make today meaningful? When you know that, you stop wasting energy on things that don't count. Focusing only on actions that change your life also means being honest about what doesn't. Distractions don't always look like distractions. Sometimes they look like good opportunities, social obligations, or harmless habits. But anything that takes you away from your goals, drains your energy, or keeps you repeating the same day is a distraction in disguise. You don't owe your time to everything that asks for it. You owe it to what moves your life forward. When you start saying no to what doesn't matter, something amazing happens. You gain time, energy, and peace. You start noticing how much mental space was being wasted on things that didn't even matter. You stop feeling overwhelmed. You start feeling in control. You realize that most of your stress came not from doing too much, but from doing too many things that didn't align with your real priorities. Every person who achieves something meaningful has learned this lesson. The price of greatness is focus. You can't improve 10 things at once. You can't chase every idea. You must choose a few vital actions and give them your full attention. You don't need more hours. You need fewer distractions. Success isn't about speed, it's about direction. You can go fast in the wrong direction and end up nowhere. Focus gives your effort purpose. Many people think they need motivation, but what they actually need is clarity. When you know exactly what matters, you don't need to be pushed. You're pulled by purpose. When your mind is clear, decisions become simple. You don't waste time debating with yourself. You know what to do, and you do it. That's how momentum builds. Clarity gives you power. To live with focus, you have to regularly check where your time is going. Track your days for a week. Look honestly at how much time you spend on what truly matters. You might be shocked. Most people spend more time consuming than creating, more time reacting than acting, more time planning than doing. Awareness is the first step toward change. Once you see where your time goes, you can start taking it back. Building a focused life doesn't happen in one big decision. It happens in small daily choices. Choosing to start your morning with your priorities, not your phone. Choosing to work on your goals before you deal with distractions. Choosing to think before saying yes. Choosing to end your day by reviewing what actually mattered. Every choice strengthens your focus or weakens it. There's no neutral ground. Some people avoid focus because they fear missing out. But what they don't see is that they're missing out already on growth, peace, and mastery. When you focus, you don't miss out. You start seeing results that scattered people never see. You stop chasing everything and start building something real. That's when your life starts feeling aligned. You will notice something else too. When you focus on what truly matters, you attract better people and better opportunities. When your life has direction, others notice. People respect clarity. When you're scattered, you draw confusion. When you're focused, you draw strength. That's why clarity is not just a personal tool. It's a social advantage. But staying focused requires courage. The world will always pull you toward distraction. You'll always have reasons to delay. You'll always have noise around you. You can't eliminate it all, but you can choose what gets your attention. That choice is power. Every time you ignore the unimportant and choose the important, you're shaping your destiny. It's that simple and it's that difficult. One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself each day is, what will truly matter 1 year from now? When you answer that question honestly, you realize most of what you worry about won't even be relevant. The arguments, the small tasks, the minor details, they fade. The important things stay. Focusing on what matters also teaches patience. Important actions take time to show results. You might not see change immediately, but every focused effort compounds. Just because you can't see progress today doesn't mean it's not happening. Every time you stay consistent, you're building strength inside you. Over time, that strength becomes visible. That's how real growth happens quietly, slowly, but powerfully. You must learn to measure your life, not by how much you do, but by how much what you do matters. You could spend a year being busy and end up with little to show for it, or you could spend that same year focused and transform your future completely. It's not the hours, it's the intention behind them. The difference between an average life and an extraordinary one is not talent, it's focus. Every time you focus on what truly matters, you're saying yes to your best self. You're proving that you care enough to protect your time, your energy, and your potential. You're creating a life that's directed by purpose, not reaction. You're teaching yourself to think long-term, to act with awareness, to live with strength. That's how people build lasting fulfillment, not by doing more, but by doing what matters most. So take a moment to reflect on your life right now. What are you giving your time to that doesn't deserve it? What are the few actions that, if you gave them your full focus, could change everything for you? You already know the answer. Deep down, you know what's truly important. The challenge is to give those things the attention they deserve. Starting today, choose focus. Choose to act only on what changes your life. Ignore what's popular. Ignore what's urgent but meaningless. Direct your energy where it counts. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your future is built by what you focus on today. Make sure it's worth it. Discipline yourself to finish the work that matters. Discipline is the bridge between starting something and finishing it. Most people can start. Starting feels exciting. It gives you a burst of energy and hope. But few people finish what they start. They lose focus when the excitement fades. They slow down when the work becomes repetitive. They stop when progress feels invisible. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's not about how fast you begin. It's about whether you finish the work that truly matters. Finishing what matters requires you to build strength in your mind. Not physical strength, but mental steadiness. The ability to keep going when feeling of motivation disappears. Discipline means doing it not because it feels good, but because it's the right thing to do. It's staying on track when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, and when no one even knows what you're working on. Discipline is the quiet power that turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. The truth is, every meaningful goal will test your patience. There will be days when nothing seems to move forward, days when progress feels invisible. Those are the moments where discipline either carries you or you collapse. You have to train yourself to stay consistent even when it feels pointless, because the truth is, small progress still counts. Slow movement is still movement. Every step you take builds the foundation for the next one. The finish line doesn't need to be visible for you to keep walking. Most people give up not because they can't succeed, but because they can't stay patient. They want results now. They want recognition now. They want everything to happen quickly. But nothing meaningful happens fast. Building something valuable takes consistency. Discipline means you keep showing up day after day even when it's boring. It means you stay focused when distractions scream for your attention. It means you keep your promises to yourself even when no one would blame you for quitting. To finish the work that matters, you have to understand that your feelings are not always your friend. Your mind will tell you to stop when things get uncomfortable. It will say you're too tired, too busy, or not ready. But your feelings are temporary. Your goals are permanent. If you let your emotions decide your actions, you'll live in circles. Discipline means you choose logic over emotion. You decide what must be done, and then do it regardless of how you feel. The greatest form of self-respect is doing what you said you would do. Every time you quit halfway, you weaken that trust with yourself. But every time you finish something important, no matter how small, you strengthen it. That self-trust becomes your inner power. When you say, "I'll do it," and you actually do, you start believing in your own word again. That's when your confidence grows, not from compliments, but from consistency. Finishing is hard because it requires endurance. It requires you to face the middle part of any journey, the part where excitement fades and the end feels far. That's where most people stop. But if you push through the middle, you separate yourself from the crowd. Discipline is built in the middle. It's built when no one sees your effort. It's built when you keep doing the work that doesn't give immediate rewards. That's where strength is formed. When you work on something that matters, you'll face resistance. Resistance can come as self-doubt, boredom, or distraction. Sometimes it comes as other people who don't understand what you're doing. You have to remember why you started. You have to remind yourself that every meaningful goal requires struggle. The struggle is not a sign to stop. It's a sign you're doing something important. Discipline doesn't mean you don't get tired. It means you keep going even when you're tired. It means you rest when necessary, but you don't quit. It means you stop treating your goals like wishes and start treating them like responsibilities. You don't wait for the perfect mood. You build habits that move you forward even when life isn't convenient. You can't depend on willpower forever. Willpower is like a spark. Discipline is the structure that keeps the fire burning. You build discipline through systems, not just desire. You create a routine that protects your focus. You plan your day around your priorities, not around distractions. You make your work automatic. You remove unnecessary decisions. The more structured your environment, the easier it becomes to stay disciplined. Finishing what matters is not about intensity. It's about consistency. You don't need to work harder for one day. You need to keep working every day. Intensity burns fast. Consistency builds slow strength. It's better to do something small daily than to burn out after a burst of motivation. Discipline means you understand that steady effort beats explosive effort every time. You'll also have to accept that finishing what matters often means being misunderstood. People may not see your vision. They might question why you're working so hard on something that doesn't yet show results. But you don't owe anyone an explanation for your focus. The people who succeed are not the ones who seek approval. They're the ones who stay loyal to their purpose. Discipline grows when you stop negotiating with yourself. Most people lose the battle in their own mind. They make deals with themselves. I'll skip it today and start tomorrow. But every time you do that, you teach your mind that your excuses are stronger than your commitments. The moment you stop making deals and start following through, your life begins to change. Every goal has a price, and the price is discipline. You have to trade comfort for progress. You have to trade instant pleasure for long-term satisfaction. The work that matters is not always fun. It's often repetitive, quiet, and challenging, but it's the kind of work that shapes your future. The joy doesn't come from doing it. It comes from knowing you did it. Finishing the work that matters gives you something deeper than pride. You stop carrying guilt about what you left unfinished. You stop doubting yourself. You stop feeling finishing brings closure, clarity, and confidence. It creates mental space for new goals. When you complete something important, you create momentum that carries into every part of your life. Discipline also teaches you humility. It reminds you that success doesn't come from luck. It comes from daily decisions. It makes you appreciate effort more than outcome. You start valuing progress over perfection. You realize that the process is just as important as the result. Finishing something meaningful changes. You become more grounded, more aware, and more confident in your own power to create change. To build discipline, start with small things. Finish what you start. Even if it's something simple, if you begin cleaning, finish cleaning. If you begin writing, finish writing. If you begin learning, finish learning. The size of the task doesn't matter. What matters is the pattern you build. You're teaching your brain that when you begin, you finish. That's how you rewire your mind for completion. Discipline is also about managing your environment. You can't stay focused if your surroundings pull you away. Keep your space clean, remove temptations, limit noise. Surround yourself with reminders of your goals. When your environment supports your discipline, success becomes natural. You don't have to fight for focus. Some people say discipline feels restrictive, but the truth is discipline creates freedom. It gives you control over your time, your mind, and your direction. Without discipline, you're controlled by emotions and impulses. With discipline, you choose what matters. You become free from the chaos of indecision. The ability to do what's necessary, even when it's hard. The secret to finishing the work that matters is to treat it like a promise to your future self, a promise that you won't give up when things get tough. Every time you follow through, you strengthen that promise. You're telling yourself, I'm someone who finishes. That identity becomes your strength. Sometimes you'll want to quit because progress feels slow. But remember, slow progress is still progress. Every great achievement was once just a small repeated effort. Every expert was once a beginner who refused to stop. You might not see results today, but that doesn't mean they are not coming. Trust your consistency. The finish line belongs to those who keep walking. There will be moments when you feel behind, when you look around and see others moving faster. Don't let that distract you. Comparison kills discipline. Stay focused on your own path. Your journey is yours. The only competition that matters is the person you were yesterday. If you finish what you start today, you've already won. Remember, the real victory isn't in how much you start, it's in how much you complete. The world is full of half-finished dreams, half-written books, half-built plans. Don't add yours to that list. Be the person who sees it through. Be the one who doesn't stop halfway. Be the one who finishes the work that matters. When you look back on your life, you won't remember the things you started. You'll remember the things you finished. You'll remember the goals that demanded your discipline and the victories that made you the satisfaction of completion. Lasts far longer than the comfort of quitting. Every finished task is a statement that says, I have control over my life. So discipline yourself, not because someone told you to, but because your future depends on it. Do the work that matters. Push through the last mile. Even when it's hard, keep your word to yourself. When you master the habit of finishing, you build an unshakable foundation for everything else in life. Your success will not be built on bursts of effort. It will be built on discipline, and discipline, once built, will serve you for the rest of your life. Remove every distraction that steals your mental energy. Your mind is your greatest tool, yet it's also the easiest thing to lose control of. In today's world, it's not just your time that gets stolen. It's your attention, your focus, and your peace of mind. You can sit at your desk for 8 hours and still feel like you got nothing done, not because you lacked effort, but because your energy was scattered. Every time you let something pull your attention away, you give a piece of your power to it. Removing distractions isn't just about productivity. It's about protecting your mind so you can live with clarity, strength, and purpose. Mental energy is not endless. You wake up with a limited amount each day, and everything you pay attention to costs you something. Every notification, every pointless conversation, every thought that drags you into worry or comparison drains you. That's why you can feel tired even if you've done nothing physical. Distractions don't just steal your focus, they drain your mental battery before the real work even begins. If you want to live a focused and powerful life, you must learn to guard that energy with intention. The first step is to admit how much noise you've allowed into your life. Most people are overstimulated. They check their phone hundreds of times a day, bounce between apps, and fill every quiet moment with noise. They think they're relaxing, but they're actually training their brain to stay restless. A restless mind can't focus deeply. It jumps from one thing to another, always chasing something new. When you live like that, it becomes impossible to think clearly or feel peaceful. To change that, you must begin removing what doesn't deserve your attention. Start by noticing what pulls you the most. It might be your phone, your environment, certain people, or your own thoughts. Not all distractions are visible. Some live in your habits, and others live in your head. You might spend hours thinking about problems you can't control or worrying about what others think. These mental loops drain your energy just as much as any external noise. The first rule of mental discipline is awareness. You can't change what you don't notice, so start watching yourself. Every time your focus slips, ask, "What just stole my attention?" You'll begin to realize that many distractions are self-inflicted. You check your phone not because you need to, but because it's a habit. You open messages not because they matter, but because you want stimulation. The mind craves constant novelty, but novelty doesn't create progress. You must train your mind to find peace in simplicity. That's where strength begins. The more scattered your attention, the weaker your results. The more focused your attention, the more powerful your life becomes. You can't give your best to anything when your mind is divided. Distractions may seem harmless, but they cost you deeply. Every time you interrupt your flow, it takes your brain minutes to recover. Over the course of a day, that adds up to hours of wasted focus. You don't need more time. You need fewer interruptions. To remove distractions, you have to be ruthless. You can't just reduce them. You have to eliminate them. If something doesn't support your priorities, it doesn't belong in your day. Set boundaries with your phone. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Keep your work area clean and free from clutter. Put distance between you and people who drain your energy. Protect your peace like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Many people underestimate how much their environment affects their mind. A messy room, loud surroundings, or constant noise can weaken focus without you even realizing it. Your mind reflects your environment. When your space is chaotic, your thoughts become chaotic. When your surroundings are calm, your mind settles. Spend time each day creating order around you. It's not just about tightness. A clean environment creates a clear mind, and a clear mind creates strong actions. You must also learn to say no. Most distractions come disguised as requests, invitations, or opportunity. People will always ask for your time, and not everything they ask deserves a yes. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something meaningful. Saying no doesn't make you unkind. It makes you focused. You can't give your energy to everyone and still expect to have any left for your goals. Mental energy also leaks through unnecessary thinking, worry, regret, overthinking. They drain more strength than any external distraction. You must train your mind to stop feeding thoughts that bring no value. When you catch yourself replaying past mistakes or imagining problems that haven't happened, pause, ask yourself, does this thought help me? If not, let it go. Protecting your focus is also about mastering your internal dialogue. Distractions are not just a modern problem, they're a test of discipline. The world is filled with noise, and it's not slowing down. Everywhere you look, something wants your attention. The companies, the algorithms, the endless information, they're all designed to keep your mind occupied. The challenge is to live in this world without being controlled by it. You can't escape distractions completely, but you can decide how you respond to them. That decision shapes your life. You don't have to cut yourself off from the world, but you do have to take control of how you engage with it. Decide specific times to check messages or social media. Create boundaries between work and rest. When you work, give your full focus. When you rest, disconnect fully. Most people blur the two. They work while half distracted and relax while feeling guilty. That's why they never feel productive or peaceful. Full presence in each moment is what gives life balance. Your mental energy is like currency. You can spend it on things that build you or waste it on things that drain you. Before you open your phone, before you start a conversation, before you say yes to something, will this cost me peace or give me progress? That one question can change your entire day. Most of the time, the answer is obvious. The discipline is in listening to it. When you begin removing distractions, you'll notice how uncomfortable silence feels at first. You'll feel the urge to fill every quiet space with noise. That's because your brain has been addicted to stimulation. But if you sit through that discomfort, you'll find something powerful: clarity. The mind starts organizing itself when you give it space. Ideas surface. energy returns. Focus is not something you find, it's something you create by clearing the clutter. It's important to understand that every distraction has an emotional trigger behind it. You don't reach for your phone just because you're curious. You do it because you're avoiding something. Maybe you're avoiding boredom, discomfort, or the feeling of being alone with your thoughts. When you remove distractions, you come face to face with yourself. That's why it's difficult, but it's also where real growth begins. You learn to face what you've been escaping. You learn to be comfortable with stillness. Another source of distraction is saying yes to too many commitments. Spreading yourself thin divides your energy. You can't give your best to everything. If you want to do great work, you have to do less, but better. Focused work has power because it's done with full attention. You can accomplish more in 2 focused hours than in 10 distracted ones. Stop confusing being busy with being valuable. Busyness looks productive, but often leads nowhere. Not speed is what creates change. You'll find that once you start simplifying your life, you begin to think more clearly. Your decisions become easier. You stop feeling constantly rough. The weight that used to sit on your mind starts to fade. That's the power of focus. It doesn't just help you achieve more, it helps you feel lighter. You can finally breathe without pressure. Your relationships will also change when you remove distractions. You'll start listening more deeply. You'll stop checking your phone every few minutes. You'll give people your full attention. That kind of presence is rare. You'll connect on a level that surface conversations never reach. Removing distractions not only improves your productivity, it strengthens your humanity. Discipline in focus is built through daily practice. Give yourself blocks of time where you do only one thing. No phone, no interruptions, no switching. Over time, your mind learns to stay steady. You'll notice how much more you could get done and how much calmer you feel. You must also rest intentionally. Distraction often comes from fatigue. When your mind is tired, it looks for escape. Rest is not laziness. Give yourself time to recharge, but make sure that rest is real. No screens, no noise. A rested mind doesn't crave distraction. Protecting your mental energy is a lifelong commitment. You'll have to keep refining it. New distractions will appear, and you'll have to adjust, but every boundary you set makes you stronger. Every unnecessary thing you remove makes room for what truly matters. You start realizing that the simpler your life becomes, the richer it feels when you learn to remove distractions. You reclaim your power. You no longer live reacting to everything around you. You live with direction. That's the kind of life most people want but never build, because they never learn to protect their attention. The truth is, focus is freedom. When you control where your mind goes, you control your entire life. Distractions might still knock on your door, but they won't rule you. You'll choose what deserves your energy. You'll learn that peace isn't found in doing more. It's found in doing less, but doing it with full heart. So clear your space, quiet your mind, and guard your focus. Remove every distraction that drains your strength or steals your peace. Your energy is sacred. When your mind is free from noise, you become unstoppable. You start to see your potential clearly. You start living with purpose. And that's when your life begins to rise above the noise that traps so many other. Chapter 5. Push through boredom and keep doing the essential tasks. Most people never reach their full potential because they give up when things become dull. They start with enthusiasm. They plan with excitement. And they imagine the rewards at the end. But when the novelty fades and the routine begins, they stop. They think something is wrong because it no longer feels thrilling. The truth is, boredom is part of the process. Every great result is built on thousands of ordinary moments. If you can't push through boredom, you'll never experience mastery. The people who succeed are not the ones who find excitement in every moment. They're the ones who keep working even when it's not exciting at all. It asks, are you serious about your goals or are you just interested? When you face repetitive tasks, your mind tries to escape. It looks for stimulation, something new, something easy. But every time you chase excitement, you lose consistency. The essential tasks, those small daily actions that move your life forward, are not always exciting. They're often repetitive, quiet, and predictable. But those are the very actions that build your strength. The discipline to keep doing them when you're tired, bored, or uninspired is what separates those who dream from those who live their dreams. It's easy to be motivated when something feels fresh. Everyone can start strong, but motivation fades quickly. The work that matters doesn't depend on motivation. It depends on persistence. You have to keep showing up when nothing seems to change. You have to remind yourself that boredom doesn't mean failure. It means progress is happening beneath the surface. Every rep, every page, every habit compounds quietly, until one day, it explodes into results. The key is to stay long enough to see that happen. Your mind is wired to avoid discomfort, and boredom in its own way is a form of discomfort. It feels meaningless. It feels like time is passing without excitement. But this is where growth lies. Your attention span expands when you stop running from stillness. Your patience grows when you stop needing instant stimulation. The ability to stay engaged with something that feels boring is a rare skill, and it's the foundation of real achievement. When you push through boredom, you take control of your mind. You're teaching yourself that you don't need to be entertained to be effective. You're learning that progress isn't supposed to feel exciting every day. It's supposed to feel steady. It's supposed to feel steady. It's supposed to feel ordinary. Most of the great work in life doesn't feel magical while it's happening. It feels like showing up again and again. Think about anyone who's mastered something: an athlete, an artist, a leader. Their lives are filled with repetition. The same drills, the same routines, the same habits. That's what mastery looks like from the inside. The glamour only shows up later when the world sees the result. But the daily grind, the quiet repetition, the endless small actions, that's what builds greatness. If you want to reach your potential, you must learn to embrace the dull moments. Because most of life is made of them, you can't always feel inspired, but you can always stay committed. The secret is to redefine how you see boredom. Instead of seeing it as a sign to stop, see it as a sign to stay focused. It's a signal that you're entering a deeper level of discipline. Every time you resist the urge to quit, you strengthen your ability to stay steady. People often chase excitement because they confuse movement with progress. They think switching tasks or starting something new will fix their restlessness. But that only resets the cycle. You feel good for a short while, then boredom returns. The answer isn't to escape. When you stay long enough with one thing, you start to see results that restless people never see. You start to build depth. Depth is what creates meaning, skill, and fulfillment. The essential tasks you have to do every day might not impress anyone. They might not even impress you, but they're the backbone of your progress. They're the foundation of everything bigger you'll build. The workout that feels repetitive still strengthens your body. The writing session that feels uninspired still sharpens your mind. The small act of saving or studying or practicing still compounds quietly. The power is not in how exciting the task feels. It's in your ability to do it anyway. One reason people struggle to stay consistent is that they keep waiting for the right feeling. They think they need passion to do the work, but passion often comes after progress, not before it. The more you see results, the more you start enjoying the process. The more consistent you are, the more pride you feel in your effort. That's how motivation works. It follows action, not the other way around. You also have to be careful not to mistake boredom for burnout. Burnout happens when you're overwhelmed or misaligned. Boredom happens when you're doing what's necessary, but not immediately exciting. The solution to burnout is rest. The solution to boredom is persistence. Rest when you're exhausted, but don't confuse stillness with stagnation. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your growth is to simply keep going. Every time you push through boredom, you're building resilience. You're teaching yourself that you can handle monotony without losing focus. That's a powerful skill because life is full of repetitive C's. Raising a family, building a business, maintaining health. These things are made of routines. The people who thrive are those who don't need constant excitement to stay committed. They understand that consistency creates results and results create meaning. Your relationship with boredom says a lot about your maturity. Immature minds chase excitement because they need constant validation. Mature minds chase progress because they understand that growth is quiet. The child wants new toys. The adult wants new levels. The difference is that when you learn to keep doing the essential work even when it's dull, you're growing in ways most people never will. To manage boredom, you have to set clear intentions. Know why you're doing what you're doing. When your why is strong, your patience grows. If you know the purpose behind your task, boredom loses power over you. You stop focusing on how it feels and start focusing on what it's building. When the vision is clear, repetition becomes meaningful. Every small action becomes a brick in something bigger. You can also break big goals into smaller pieces. Boredom often creeps in when your goals feel too far away. If you can see progress in shorter intervals, your mind stays engaged. Reward yourself for completion, not just excitement. Celebrate discipline, not just passion. That's how you build momentum when feelings fade. You must understand that boredom is not the enemy. Distraction is. Boredom gives you a chance to focus. It gives you space to think. Distraction pulls you away from what matters. When you feel bored, resist the urge to escape into distraction. Let the boredom pass through you. Once it does, you'll find a new level of focus waiting on the other side. The greatest mistake people make is quitting right before momentum builds. The task feels repetitive, the progress feels slow, and they assume nothing is happening, but every effort adds up. The process is working even when you can't see it. The wall only looks flat when you're laying bricks one by one. But one day you'll step back and realize how high you built it. That's the reward of staying consistent through bored. Another reason people stop when bored is that they think they're not improving. But growth often happens silently. The skill that feels stuck today may suddenly click next week. The effort that feels invisible today might pay off in ways you can't yet see. Trust the process even when it feels uneventful. Growth is slow because it's deep. The essential tasks in your life, whether they're professional, personal, or emotional, are the ones that sustain your foundation. You can't skip them and expect stability. Like watering a plant, you might not see results every day, but stop for too long and you'll see decline. That's how habits work. Consistency feeds progress. Skipping too many small things creates large setback. If you train yourself to stay disciplined through boredom, you'll become unstoppable. Because once you no longer need excitement to act, you become free. Most people depend on emotion to move. You'll depend on decision. Most people quit when it feels dull. That difference creates unstoppable momentum. You'll also find peace in repetition. There's a rhythm in consistency, a calmness in knowing what must be done and doing it. It removes indecision. You stop wasting energy thinking, should I do this today, because the answer is already yes. That mental clarity alone gives you strength. Boredom will still visit you, but you'll no longer see it as a problem. You'll see it as a sign that you're on the right path. You'll know that repetition means you're staying consistent. You'll understand that quiet work is the foundation of great achievements. A satisfaction comes later when you realize how much those small, uneventful days built your future. If you want to transform your life, master this one skill. Keep doing the essential tasks, no matter how dull they feel. Write the page, lift the weight, make the call, review the plan. These small things compound over time. That's how you create excellence, not by chasing excitement, but by honoring consistency. Every goal, every dream, every change you want begins with this truth. Success is built on the days that feel ordinary. The breakthroughs you admire in others were born out of long, quiet hours of repetition. So when boredom shows up, don't resist it. Accept it as part of the process. Push through it with patience and purpose. Because the moment you stop expecting excitement from your goals, you start achieving them. You stop needing everything to feel good, and you start doing what needs to be done. That's when you become unstoppable. You'll work through silence. You'll stay steady when others drift, and you'll realize that greatness isn't built in moments of passion. It's built in moments of persistence. So push through boredom. Stay loyal to the essential. Keep showing up when nothing happens. Keep building when it feels slow. Because in those unseen hours, your future is forming. And one day when the results appear, you'll understand that the most powerful thing you ever did was keep going when it wasn't exciting. Commit fully to fewer goals that bring real results. Most people spread themselves too thin. They chase too many things at once, trying to make progress in every direction, and end up going nowhere. Their energy is divided, their focus is weak, and their results are scattered. The truth is, you can't live a meaningful life chasing everything that looks good. You have to decide what truly matters and give it everything you have. Real results don't come from doing more. They come from doing less. With total commitment, committing fully to fewer goals is one of the hardest things to do in life, because it forces you to let go of the illusion of doing it all. It makes you face the truth that your time and energy are limited. Every hour you give to something unimportant is an hour stolen from what could change your life. The world glorifies multitasking, but multitasking kills depth. You can't build mastery when you're scattered. You can't see real results when your focus is divided between 100 half-hearted efforts. You have to learn the power of focus, not the kind that lasts for a few hours, but the kind that lasts for years. The kind that says, this is what I'm building. This is what matters most. When you choose a few meaningful goals and commit to them completely, your life starts gaining direction. You stop feeling like you're spinning in circles. You stop being busy and start being effective. Every action begins to matter because it serves a clear purpose. The reason so many people feel stuck isn't because they're lazy. It's because they're unfocused. They start one thing, then abandon it when it gets hard. They get distracted by something new, something exciting, something easier. But every new start without follow-through takes energy away from what could have become something great. Progress requires depth, and depth requires commitment. You can't dig 10 shallow holes and expect to find water. You have to pick one and dig deep enough. Committing fully to fewer goals means deciding what you will give up. That's the part most people avoid. They want success without sacrifice. They want to achieve without choosing. But every yes demands a no. You can't say yes to everything and expect clarity. You can't be serious about your goals while still entertaining distractions. The courage to say no is what gives your yeses power. When you focus your energy on a small number of goals that truly matter, you multiply your progress tenfold. You must understand that commitment is not just about hard work, it's about loyalty. It's about staying faithful to your priorities when the excitement fades. It's about showing up even when you feel unsure. Commitment means you've made a decision and you're not negotiating with yourself every day about it. You don't keep restarting. You don't keep wondering if you made the right choice. You pour your energy into making it right. That's how results are created, through sustained, focused effort over time. Every goal worth chasing demands sacrifice. You can't build something meaningful without giving something up. It might be time, comfort, social approval, or short-term pleasure, but what you get in return is far more valuable. Depth, confidence, mastery, and results that actually change your life. You can't fake commitment. Either you're all in or you're not in at all. Half effort creates half results. Whole effort creates transformation. One of the reasons people fail to commit fully is fear. Fear of missing out. Fear of failure. Fear of wasting time on the wrong thing. But that fear keeps them from ever building anything lasting. You can't control every outcome, but you can control your effort, and effort is what shapes destiny. If you choose something meaningful and give it your full attention, even if it doesn't go exactly as planned, you'll grow in ways that half-hearted effort never could. You also have to get clear on what real results mean for you, not results that impress others, not results that look good on paper, but results that truly improve your life. Real results bring growth, peace, and fulfillment. They align with your values. They move you towards your best self when you know what kind of results matter to you. Your priorities become obvious. You stop chasing recognition and start chasing purpose. Committing fully doesn't mean you rush. It means you stay consistent. It means you move steadily in the same direction until you're up. Progress is not about doing everything fast. It's about doing the right things long enough. You have to become patient with your goals. You have to accept that meaningful things take time. You can't plant a seed today and demand fruit tomorrow. Your job is to nurture it, protect it, and stay consistent until it grows. There will be moments when you doubt your path, when it feels slow, lonely, or non-clear. That's when most people quit and jump to something new. But commitment means staying through the uncertain. It means trusting your process even when results aren't visible. Most breakthroughs happen after long periods of patience and silence. Stay long enough for your work to bear fruit. When you commit to fewer goals, you simplify your life. You stop juggling 10 things that don't matter and start focusing on the few that do. That simplicity gives you peace. It gives you clarity. It gives you direction. You stop feeling scattered. You start feeling in control. Simplicity is not weakness. It means you know what you want and you're not afraid to give it your full effort. The danger of having too many goals is that you never give any of them enough time to grow. You keep restarting, rethinking, reevaluating. Every restart sets you back to the beginning. Success doesn't come from constant rethinking. It comes from consistent doing. Make a decision, commit, and stay with it. You can always adjust along the way, but never abandon the path every time it gets steep. To stay committed, remind yourself often of why you started. Write it down, keep it visible. Because your why fuels your discipline. When you forget it, distractions look more appealing. But when you stay connected to your reason, your mind stays anchored. You stop chasing temporary rewards and focus on long-term meaning. You'll find that once you focus on fewer goals, you start doing better work. Your creativity sharpens. Your energy increases. Your mind becomes sharper. When your focus is divided, your work is shallow. When your focus is unified, your work becomes deep and powerful. People note opportunities open. This approach also reduces stress. Trying to balance too many goals creates constant tension because your attention is always split. You're always thinking about what you're not doing instead of being fully present with what you're doing. Fewer goals mean more presence, and presence is what allows you to do your best work. When you fully commit to something, it begins to change you. You develop resilience. You start taking yourself seriously. You stop giving up easily. You start becoming the kind of person who finishes what they start. That shift in identity is powerful. You stop hoping for results. You start expecting them, because you know your level of commitment deserves them. Committing fully also teaches you how to say no with competence. The more focused you are, the easier it becomes to filter out what doesn't fit your priorities. You stop needing to please everyone. You stop chasing every opportunity. You realize that not everything is worth your time, and that clarity brings strength. It gives you control over your life again. Your results will always reflect the level of your commitment. If you give half effort, you'll get half progress. If you go all in, your life will begin to move in powerful ways. It's just focus and consistent. Most people underestimate what they can achieve by committing deeply to one thing for a long time. That's where success hides, in the boring, consistent repetition of focused effort. Every day, you have to remind yourself that you're building something that matters. You're not just chasing goals, you're shaping your future. Every small victory, every challenge overcome is a step toward the person you're becoming. That's why commitment matters so much. It doesn't just produce results. Be careful not to confuse business with progress. You can fill your days with endless tasks and still go nowhere. The question is not how much you're doing. It's what you're doing, or your actions connected to your goals. Are they moving you closer to real results? If not, you're wasting energy. Cut out the noise and give your best only to what counts. You don't need a dozen goals to build a meaningful life. You need a few that truly matter and the discipline to stay with them. Pick what aligns with your deepest values, not what impresses others. Once you choose goal, protect those goals, nurture them. Keep them simple but powerful. The beauty of focusing on fewer goals is that it brings peace to your mind. You stop living in constant mental chaos. You know exactly what deserves your attention, and that brings free. You no longer feel guilty about what you're not doing because you know you're giving everything to what matters most. Every successful person you admire didn't get there by doing everything. They got there by doing a few things exceptionally well. They made hard choices, they gave up distractions, and they stayed committed long after the excitement faded. That's what you must do too. So make the decision today to commit fully to fewer goals that bring real results. Be brave enough to say no to everything that doesn't serve your purpose. Be disciplined enough to stay with your priorities when it gets hard. Be patient enough to let your effort compound. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do what matters with everything you've got. When you live like that, your days become simpler, your mind becomes stronger, and your results become undeniable. You'll look back and realize that success was never about doing more. It was about caring deeply about a few things and giving them your best. That's how real progress is made. That's how you build a life that counts. Say no fast to everything that adds no value. Most people lose their focus not because they lack ambition, but because they don't know how to say no. Every day they get pulled into things that don't matter. Small tasks, unimportant conversations, endless obligations, meaningless distractions. They say yes to too much, and slowly their time, energy, and purpose are drained. The truth is, the quality of your life depends more on what you say no to than what you say yes to. Saying no fast is not about arrogance. It's about self-respect. It's about protecting your focus, your peace, and your future from things that don't add value to your life. You can't do everything and expect to do anything well. Every yes you give divides your attention. Every extra obligation you accept takes away time from something that truly matters. You might think you're being helpful or polite, but what you're really doing is scattering your potential. The world is full of noise and requests, and if you don't set clear boundaries, people will fill your time for you. You have to learn to guard your focus like a treasure, because once it's gone, you can't get it back. Saying no fast is a skill, and like every skill, it takes practice. At first, you'll feel uncomfortable. You'll worry that people will judge you, but over time, you'll realize that saying no quickly and firmly brings peace. It makes you feel in control. You'll start to see how much unnecessary weight you've been carrying, all because you couldn't turn something down. When you say no to things that don't add value, you make space for things that do. You create room for clarity, creativity, and energy. You start living by intention instead of reaction. Most people live in reaction mode. They respond to everything that comes their way without thinking about whether it truly matters, but a focused life is a deliberate one. You decide what deserves your time. You decide what deserves your attention. That's how you take control of your destiny. Think about your daily life. How many of your hours are spent doing things you don't actually care about? How many of your tasks are driven by obligation? How many of your yes are really just fear of disappointing others? The cost of people-pleasing is enormous. Every time you say yes to something meaningless, you're saying no to your priorities, your growth, and your peace of mind. That's not kindness, that's self-betrayal. You must understand that your time is limited, and that makes it precious. When you treat your time casually, others will too. But when you start protecting it fiercely, people begin to respect it. They'll adjust to your boundaries because boundaries teach others how to treat you. The people who truly respect you won't be offended by your no. They'll be inspired by it because a person who knows what matters stands out in a world full of distractions. Saying no fast doesn't mean being cold or rude. It means being clear and honest. It means valuing your goals enough to protect them from what doesn't serve them. You don't have to explain your no. You don't owe anyone a long justification. A simple "that doesn't fit my priorities right now" is enough. You don't have to apologize for a living intention. You'll notice that the hardest people to say no to are often the ones closest to you. They might not understand your focus at first. They might take it personally, but you're not rejecting them. You're rejecting what drains if you want to be your best fathers. You have to first protect your energy. You can't pour into others if your cup is empty. Learning to say no is an act of self-care, not selfishness. There's another reason people struggle to say no. They overestimate how much they can handle. They think they can balance everything if they just work harder. But time doesn't expand, and energy doesn't multiply when stretched thin. You have to make tough choices. The person who tries to do everything ends up achieving very little. The person who focuses on the essential achieves more with less effort. When you start saying no fast, you'll realize how many things were stealing your energy without you noticing. Some of them might have looked harmless, a quick favor, a casual event, a small task, but collectively they drain your focus. Distractions often disguise themselves as opportunities. They flatter your ego by making you feel needed or busy. But busyness doesn't equal progress. If it doesn't align with your vision, it's just noise. Before you say yes to anything, pause and ask yourself a simple question. Will this move me closer to the life I want? If the answer is no, decline. If it doesn't build you, strengthen you, or bring genuine joy, it's not worth your energy. You owe yourself that honesty. You can't keep saying yes to everything and still expect to have time for what truly matters. You also need to learn to say no to your own impulses. Not every idea, plan, or urge deserves your attention. Sometimes your biggest distraction is yourself. You chase new things because they feel exciting, but excitement fades fast. Discipline means saying no to your own restlessness. It means staying focused even when your mind wants to wander. You have to be the guardian of your own attention. The most successful people in any field are not those who do the most. They're the ones who filter the best. They know what to ignore. They protect their time with intensity. They understand that every yes dilutes their power. That's why they're able to go deeper, achieve more, and live with greater peace. You can do the same if you learn to prioritize like them. One of the most powerful realizations you'll have is that not everything that comes your way deserves a response. You don't have to attend every argument. You don't have to respond to every message immediately. You don't have to fix every problem. The moment you stop reacting to everything, you reclaim your mental clarity. You stop being pulled in 100 directions and start moving in one. Saying no also builds confidence. Each time you protect your boundaries, you remind yourself that you're in control. You stop feeling guilty about prioritizing your goals. You stop seeking validation from others. You start trusting your own judgment. You start valuing peace over approval. That's stronger to live this way. You must first decide what adds value to your life. What truly matters to you. What brings meaning, progress, and joy. Because when you know what matters, saying no becomes easier. You can measure every decision against your value. If it doesn't align, it doesn't belong. Without clarity, you'll say yes to everything because you won't know what to protect. There will be people who won't understand your focus. They'll think you've changed. They'll say you've become distant or too serious. But what they don't see is that you're choosing growth over approval. You're no longer living for the comfort of others. You're living for the vision inside you. That shift can feel lonely at first, but it's the price of evolution. You can't rise without letting go of what holds you down. The faster you say no to what doesn't matter, the faster your life aligns with what does. Delayed decisions drain energy. Every time you hesitate, you leave an open loop in your mind. But when you decide quickly, your mind relaxes. You free up energy for real progress. Not rushing, but resolving. The longer you carry indecision, the heavier your mind becomes. You'll discover that your peace grows as your yeses shrink. Life becomes lighter. You start doing fewer things with greater purpose. You stop being everywhere and start being fully present where you are. That kind of presence gives life meaning. It turns ordinary days into fulfilling ones because you're finally aligned with your values. You'll also realize that the world doesn't collapse when you say no. The people who truly matter will still be there. The opportunities that are meant for you will still come back. Life rewards clarity. When you start living by your priorities, new doors open. Doors that fit your direction, not distract from it. It's important to understand that saying no doesn't close your life off. It removes what doesn't belong so what truly matters can grow. It's like clearing a field before planting. Without that space, nothing meaningful can take root. You're not losing opportunities by saying no. You're creating room for better ones. The more you practice saying no fast, the more natural it becomes. You stop overthinking. You stop feeling guilty. You start making decisions with confidence. You'll find that your days feel calmer, your focus sharper, and your energy higher. That's because you're no longer wasting your strength on what doesn't serve you. If you want to live with direction, you have to act with intention. You can't let every demand shape your day. You have to take control. Every yes must serve your highest priorities. Every no must protect them. The goal is not to be busy, it's to be effective. The goal is not to please everyone, it's to live true to yourself. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I spend my time on what matter? If the answer is no, make changes. You only get one life and it's too short to waste on things that don't bring meaning or value. Say no fast to everything that adds no value. Protect your energy like it's sacred. Guard your attention like it's gold. Because in many ways it is. The person who controls their focus controls their life. And once you master that, nothing can pull you away from what truly matters again. Take control of your day before it controls you. Every morning, the world starts making demands on you before you even open your eyes. Messages wait on your phone. People need your time and distractions fight for your attention. If you don't take control of your day from the beginning, it will control you. You'll end up reacting to everything instead of directing anything. You'll feel busy, but not productive, tired, but not fulfilled. The truth is, life doesn't slow down for anyone. You have to decide whether you'll run your day or let it run you. Taking control of your day begins before it even starts. The way you spend your morning sets the tone for everything that follows. If your first action is to check your phone, you've already surrendered control. The moment you react to someone else's message, you've given away your focus. The goal isn't to do more, it's to start intentionally. A calm, deliberate morning gives you power. It tells your mind, I'm leading today. That single decision changes how you think, work, and feel. Most people wake up and fall straight into chaos. They rush, they multitask, they chase tasks without direction. But being busy is not the same as being in control. Control means knowing what matters, starting with purpose and setting boundaries that protect your focus. It means having a plan for your time instead of letting time scatter you. Without structure, your day becomes noise. With structure, it becomes progress. Taking charge of your day starts with clarity. You can't manage what you don't defy. Ask yourself every morning, what are the 3 things that would make today meaningful? When you answer that honestly, you stop wasting energy on the unimportant. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right thing. Most people feel overwhelmed because they treat every task as equal. But not all work deserves your best energy. You have to prioritize what moves your life forward and let go of what just fills time. Your mind is sharpest in the first few hours after waking. That's when you should handle your most important work, the tasks that require focus and creativity. Don't waste that time on trivial activities. Protect it, turn off distractions, build a routine that anchors your mind. The strongest people don't rely on motivation. They rely on system. When your day is structured around your priorities, you don't need to chase motivation. It finds you through momentum. Controlling your day also means controlling your energy. You can't operate at full strength if you drain yourself on meaningless things. Every conversation, every decision, every distraction costs you energy. Be intentional with what you give attention to. Schedule breaks to reset. Take time to breathe. A sharp mind needs a healthy body. You can't expect to perform at your best if you treat your energy carelessly. Another key to taking control is setting boundaries with your time. You have to decide when to work, when to rest, and when to disconnect. Without boundaries, your day will consume you. People will constantly pull you in different directions. Technology will keep you reacting. To lead your day, you must learn to say, this is my time and this is how I'll use it. When you claim your time with intention, you reclaim your life. Discipline is what keeps your day in your hand. Without it, You drift. The hours slip away while you handle small, meaningless tasks that give the illusion of productivity. You check one thing after another, but feel no real progress. You need to train yourself to stay on task until completion. Finish before moving on. A scattered mind leads to a scattered life. Focused effort creates peace. You also have to plan your day around your own rhythm. Not everyone's energy peaks at the same time. Some people perform best in the morning. Others come alive in the evening. Pay attention to your natural cycles and align your hardest work with your strongest hours. Use your low energy periods for lighter tasks. This way, you work with your body, not against it. One mistake many people make is overloading their schedule. They pack their day with more than they can handle and end up feeling like failures when they can't finish it all. The goal isn't to do everything. It's to do what matters most. Well, a successful day isn't measured by how many things you checked off, but by how many important things you moved forward. Give your full attention to fewer things, and you'll get better results with less stress. Taking control also means preparing for interruption. Life will always throw surprises your way. Plans will change, people will need you, and problems will appear without warning. You can't avoid them, but you can manage how you respond. When you have a clear structure, you can adjust without losing control. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond intentionally. You pause, think, and redirect your energy back to what matters. It's also important to end your day with reflection. Don't just collapse into bed after running all bed. Take a few minutes to review what went well, what didn't, and what you'll improve tomorrow. Reflection keeps you aligned. It helps you learn from experience instead of repeating mistakes. When you end your day consciously, you sleep with peace and wake up with direction. You'll notice that when you start taking control of your day, your mind becomes calmer. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. You start feeling like you're guiding it. Your handle challenge is better because you'll know they don't control your direction. You'll feel more grounded because your day has purpose. That sense of control brings confidence, a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're living with intention. The truth is, no one can manage your time for you. No system or planner will save you if you don't take responsibility for your attention. Control is not about perfection, it's about awareness. It's about choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. Every minute you spend unconsciously is a minute lost forever. Time is your most valuable resource, and how you use it determines everything else in your life. Taking control also means managing how you start and end each activity. Don't drift from one task to another. Pause, reset, decide what you'll focus on next. That small habit keeps your mind organized. Chaos builds when you blend everything together. Order comes from deliberate transitions. When you switch tasks with intention, you keep your mind sharp and your energy stable. You must also manage your mental environment. It's not just the tasks that shape your day, it's the thoughts you entertain. Worry, negativity, and overthinking steal time faster than any external distraction. When you catch yourself spiraling into useless thoughts, pull yourself back. Ask, is this helping me move forward? If not, replace it with action. The more you act, the less room your mind has for noise. One of the most freeing realizations you can have is that you don't have to be available to everyone all the time. You have the right to disconnect. You have the right to silence. You have the right to create space for your own growth. When you stop trying to be everywhere for everyone, you finally start being present for yourself. That's what taking control looks like. It's choosing quality over quantity, peace over pressure, meaning over movement. To build a day that works for you, start simple. Wake up earlier than you need to. Begin with something that centers your mind. Quiet reflection, stretching, planning, or journaling. Set your intentions clearly. What will make today a 6? Then move straight into your most important task before distractions find you. That one decision, starting your day on your terms, can completely change how your life feels. You can't expect your day to fall into place by chance. You have to build it. You have to design it. You have to defend it. If you don't, other people will design it for you, and their priorities will replace yours. Every morning you have two options: lead your day or follow someone else's. The choice may seem small, but it shapes everything. When you control your day, you start controlling your emotions too. You stop feeling overwhelmed because you know where your focus belongs. You stop reacting to every small thing because you've already chosen what deserves attention. This gives you a quiet power and a steadiness that others notice. You walk through your day with clarity instead of chaos. There will still be days that fall apart, and that's fine. Control doesn't mean perfection. It means resilient. It means knowing how to get back on track quickly when things go wrong. It means not letting one dead moment ruin your entire day. When you practice control daily, you bound to back faster each time. You stop losing full days to stress. A control day also allows room for rest. You can't lead effectively if you're always drained. Plan time for recovery, reflection, and peace. Those moments are not wasted, they're fuel. When your body and mind are recharged, your focus deepens, you think better, move smarter, and act with confidence over time. Taking control of your day turns into taking control of your life. The small daily choices you make compound. Structure becomes freedom, routine becomes strength, discipline becomes peace. You stop living in survival mode and start living with purpose. You realize that success isn't about dramatic breakthroughs, it's about consistent control over your time, attention, and energy. When you master your days, you master your direction. You stop waiting for the perfect time to live intentionally, and you start now with today, with what's in front of you, because that's where real change begins. Every morning the world offers you a choice to drift or to direct. Choose to direct. Choose to lead your day before it leads you. Because when you control your day, you control your life. And that's the beginning of every meaningful success you'll ever build. Build consistency by showing up when it feels hard. There will always be days when you don't feel like doing anything. Days when you wake up tired, unmotivated, or mentally heavy. Days when the task ahead feels too big or the progress feels too slow. That's the real test. Not how hard you work when you're motivated, but how disciplined you remain when everything inside you wants to quit. Consistency isn't built on inspiration, it's built on commitment. It's what you do when the feelings disappear that defines who you become. Everyone wants results, but very few people want repetition. Everyone wants success, but few want the discipline it demands. The truth is, the gap between average and excellent is made in those ordinary uncomfortable moments when showing up doesn't feel exciting. The difference isn't talent, it's endurance. It's the ability to keep doing the work when the excitement fades, when progress feels invisible, when no one is watching. That's how consistency is built, through persistence in difficulty, not perfection in motivation. Your mind will always look for an easier path. It's wired to protect you from discomfort. It whispers reasons to delay, to skip, to rest. But comfort never creates growth. You can't build a strong mind by surrendering to your moods. You can't build a powerful life by only acting when it feels good. Growth lies in the moments you don't want to try but do anyway. That's where character is shaped. That's where confidence is earned. Showing up when it feels hard doesn't mean ignoring exhaustion. It means refusing to be controlled by it. You can rest, but you can't retreat. You can slow down, but you can't stop showing up. Progress doesn't demand perfection, it demands presence. Even small effort counts when it's consistent. One page written, one workout completed, one task finished, it all adds up. The magic of consistency is that it compounds quietly. You won't see it at first, but it's working behind the scenes. Think about how the strongest people you know got there. They didn't wait for motivation to strike. They built habits that carried them through their weak days. They didn't make decisions based on how they felt. They made them based on what mattered. That's the mindset you need. You can't rely on emotion to guide your effort. Emotion is temporary, purpose is permanent. When you anchor your actions in purpose, feelings lose their control over you. Every time you show up when it's hard, you're strengthening something deeper than muscle. You're strengthening your identity. You're proving to yourself that you can be trusted, that you're someone who follows through, that you're not driven by comfort, but by conviction. This kind of self-trust is rare. It's built through small repeated acts of integrity, doing what you said you'd do even when no one would know if you didn't. That's how inner confidence is born. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. You'll have off days, you'll make mistakes, you'll fall short, but the point is not to never fall. The point is to never stay down. You get back up again and again until resilience becomes your nature. You stop viewing obstacles as endings and start seeing them as part of the process. Every failure, every setback, every difficult day teaches you something about endurance. Each one prepares you for bigger challenges ahead. You must also understand that discipline is not a personality trait, it's a practice. It's something you build over time, through repetition. The more you keep your promises to yourself, the easier it becomes to keep them again. The first few times you push through resistance, it feels painful, but soon that resistance becomes familiar. You stop fighting the discomfort and start expecting it. That's when consistency becomes second nature. People often think they need to feel confident before taking action, but confidence is the reward, not the starting point. You don't wait to feel ready, you act and build readiness through action every time you show up, even when you're unsure. You gain a little more strength, a little more certainty. Over time, showing up becomes a reflex. You stop overthinking, you stop debating. That's what separates disciplined people from distracted ones. They move through resistance instead of negotiating with it. There's a kind of pride that comes from knowing you showed up when it was difficult. It's quiet, but powerful. You go to bed with peace because you know you didn't let your feelings win. That kind of pride can't be bought. It's earned through effort, through showing up when the voice in your head says not today. You'll start to see how much of your strength was hidden behind that one decision to begin anyway. When you train yourself to show up through hard days, you also remove the power of excuses. You stop waiting for ideal condition. You stop saying I'll start when I feel better or when things slow down, because you realize that perfect moments don't exist. Life will always be busy, messy, unpredictable. You either move despite that, or you stay stuck forever. The people who succeed aren't the ones with perfect timing. They're the ones who move through imperfect days with consistent effort. Your mind will always find a reason to stop. It will say you're too tired, too behind, too distracted. You can't silence that voice completely, but you can learn to ignore it. You can replace it with action. Action creates clarity. It builds momentum. The hardest part of any task is starting, but once you start, everything gets easier. Movement dissolves resistor. The moment you begin, you take back control. There will be moments when it feels like your effort isn't paying off. You'll work hard and see little visible progress. That's when most people quit right before the breakthrough. The truth is consistency works slowly. Then suddenly, it's invisible until it's undeniable. You'll wake up one day and realize the work you thought wasn't working was building something solid all along. Every small effort was stacking up in silence. When you feel like quitting, remember that emotions are temporary, but consequences are lasting. Giving up might bring momentary relief, but it costs long-term pride. When you push through, the discomfort fades, but the growth remains. That's the trade that discipline offers: temporary effort for lasting progress. You just have to be strong enough to stay long enough. Consistency is also built through structure. If you rely on willpower alone, you'll fail on hard days. You need systems that make showing up automatic. Create routines that eliminate decision fatigue. Prepare your environment so it supports your habit. When you make consistency easy to begin, you'll find it easier to sustain. You don't have to fight every day, just build the structure once and let it carry you forward. It's also important to reward yourself for consistency, not just results. Results take time, but showing up is immediate. Every day you follow through, acknowledge it. That self-recognition reinforces the behavior. You're not just working toward the goal. You're building the type of person who deserves it. You'll notice that when you start valuing consistency over intensity, everything changes. Most people try to do too much too soon. They go all in for a week and then burn out. But the key is not to do more. It's to do enough every day for a long time. Consistency beats intensity. Because consistency lasts, a small effort sustained beats a massive effort. When you show up through difficulty, you train your mind to associate discomfort with progress instead of avoidance. You start craving that feeling of effort because you know it's where growth happens. You stop running from hard days and start facing them with strength. You realize that the struggle doesn't block the path. There's a certain peace that comes with consistency. You stop questioning whether you'll keep going because it becomes part of who you are. You don't need motivation because discipline has taken its play. You no longer chase perfection because progress has become your focus. You learn that consistency is freedom. It frees you from the ups and downs of emotion. You no longer need to feel ready. You just need to begin. Every time you show up when it's hard, you build momentum. Every small effort builds into something stronger. That's how transformation happens. Not overnight, but through steady effort that accumulates quality. You don't notice it day by day, but one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. You will realize that all those moments of resistance were building you. Showing up is not about the size of the step, it's about taking one. Some days your best will be small, but it still counts. The goal is not perfection. You can't always give 100%, but you can always give something. Even 40% on a hard day is better than nothing because something builds momentum and momentum builds success. When you stay consistent through difficulty, you earn something no one can take from you. You know you can rely on yourself. You know you can endure. You know you can handle challenges without collapsing. That's what separates those who make progress from those who stay stuck. The difference is not talent, So when the next hard day comes, don't negotiate with it. Don't wait for the perfect feeling. Don't listen to the voice that says you'll start tomorrow. Because starting when it's hard is what makes you strong. Consistency doesn't demand that you love every step. It just demands that you take them. Every single day you show up, you're building something: discipline, resilience, confidence, and all of that adds up to a powerful truth. Success belongs to those who stay when it's hardest to stay. You can't control how easy the path is, but you can control whether you keep walking. Keep pushing through the resistance, one hard day at a time, because the effort you give when it's difficult becomes the foundation of everything meaningful you'll ever achieve. The strength you're looking for is already being built inside you. It just needs you to keep showing up long enough to see it grow. Live intentionally by doing only what truly counts. Living intentionally means waking up every day with clarity about what matters most and having the courage to live according to it. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what counts. Most people fill their lives with motion, not meaning. They run from task to task, rush through their days, and confuse activity with progress. They check boxes, meet deadlines, and stay busy. Yet deep inside they feel unfulfilled. That's because being busy is not the same as being purposeful. Living intentionally is about being deliberate with your time, your attention, and your choices. It's about choosing to live on purpose, not by default. The truth is, every day you are writing the story of your life through your actions. Every choice is a sentence, every habit is a paragraph. But if you're not careful, your story can fill with things that don't belong there: distractions, obligations, and routines that add nothing to your growth. Intentional living is about editing that story. It's about removing the unnecessary words so the message becomes clear. You have to decide what belongs in your life and what doesn't. No one else can do that for you. When you live intentionally, you stop chasing everything that shines. You stop trying to please everyone. You stop filling your schedule with things that look important but aren't. You start asking hard questions like, is this helping me grow? Does this make me proud? Is this aligned with the life I want to build? Those questions cut through the noise. They keep you honest. They force you to stop living on autopilot and stop living with awareness. The reason so many people feel lost is because they've never taken the time to define what truly counts. They live by the expectation of others. They follow trends, chase approval, and build lives that look successful on the outside but feel empty on the inside. Intentional living begins when you stop measuring success by what others value and start defining it for yourself. What matters to you may not impress anyone else, and that's fine. True success is living in alignment with your own values, not someone else's checklist. To live intentionally, you must slow down. You have to stop rushing long enough to think. Modern life is loud and fast. You're always connected, always consuming, always comparing. That pace doesn't leave room for reflection. Without reflection, you drift. Intentional living requires moments of quiet, where you can ask yourself, what am I really doing this for? Those moments reveal truth. They show you where your energy is going and whether it's being used well. The first step is clarity. You can't live intentionally without knowing what truly counts for you. Write down the things that give your life meaning: your relationships, your growth, your health, your purpose, your peace. Then look at how you actually spend your days. Are your actions aligned with your value? If not, you're living reactively. Every minute spent on what doesn't matter is a minute stolen from what does. Intentional living is about alignment, making sure your actions reflect your priorities. Once you know what counts, the next step is to remove what doesn't. That's the hardest part. Letting go means facing the truth that not everything you do is meaningful. It means cutting out activities, commitments, and even people that no longer align with your direction. It's not about being cold. It's about being conscious. When you stop doing things that drain you, you create space for things that fulfill you. You can't add meaning to your life without first making room for it. Intentional living also means choosing quality over quantity. You don't need dozens of goals. You need a few that matter deeply. You don't need hundreds of acquaintances. You need a few genuine connections. You don't need to fill every hour with noise. You need moments of stillness. Meaningful living is simple, not because it's easy, but because it's clear. When you strip away what's meaningless, life becomes lighter, sharper, and more peaceful. Every intentional life is built on decisions, not the big dramatic ones, but the small daily one. Every day you choose whether to react or to respond, whether to rush or to reflect, whether to chase distractions or to focus on purpose. These small decisions add up. You don't build an intentional life overnight. You build it through consistency, through awareness, through thousands of quiet choices that shape your direction. When you start living intentionally, you'll feel resistance. People around you might not understand. They might think you've changed, become distant, or too serious. Growth always creates distance from the familiar. You can't live intentionally and stay controlled by the expectations of others. You have to be willing to disappoint some people to stay true to yourself. Intentional living isn't about being liked, it's about being honest. You must also understand that intentional living is not about perfection. It's not about controlling every minute or eliminating all mistakes. It's about a when. It's about paying attention to how you live and making adjustments when you drift. There will be days you lose focus. There will be times you fall back into old habits. What matters is noticing it and realigning. Every time you bring yourself back to purpose, you strengthen your direction. Intentional living requires boundaries. Without them, your time will be consumed by everything except what matters. You have to protect your attention from noise. You have to learn to say no without guilt. When you guard your time, you create the freedom to live deeply. Every yes should mean something. Every commitment should reflect your values. Otherwise, you'll fill your life with obligations that leave no room for what truly counts. It's also about mindfulness, being fully present in what you do. Intentional living means showing up with your whole self. If you're working, if you're with loved ones, be fully there. If you're resting, rest completely. Half living drains energy. Full presence restores it. The quality of your life depends not on how much you do, but on how fully you experience it. When you live with intention, your priorities shift. You stop chasing more and start valuing better. You realize that joy doesn't come from having everything. It comes from appreciating what you already have. Gratitude becomes a natural part of your day. Because you stop taking things for granted, you start noticing small moments. The sound of laughter, a conversation that feels genuine, the calm of a quiet morning. These moments are not interruptions to life. You'll also find that your stress begins to say much of modern anxiety comes from doing things that don't align with our values. When your actions don't match your priorities, your mind feels unsettled. You're always torn between what you're doing and what you know you should be doing. Alignment brings peace. When your outer life reflects your inner truth, you feel lighter. Living intentionally means setting a vision for your life and aligning your behavior with it. Not just once, but every day. Vision without action is fantasy. Action without vision is chaos. When you wake up, know where you're going. When you make decisions, ask if they serve that direction. Does this help me live the life I want? Simplifies everything. It removes confusion and brings clarity. An intentional life also values growth over comfort. It's easy to drift into routines that keep you safe but stagnant. But growth requires courage. It asks you to challenge yourself, to take risks, to leave behind what no longer fits. The goal is not to live without challenge. It's to choose challenges that matter. Choose the kind of difficulty that builds you, not the kind that drains you. You'll notice that when you live intentionally, time starts to feel different. You no longer rush through your days. You move with purpose. You start valuing your hours more because you understand they're limited. You stop wasting energy on things that don't bring value. You realize that every day is a trade. You're exchanging time you can never get back for something else. That awareness changes how you live. To live intentionally, you must also let go of comparison. You can't build a meaningful life by measuring it against someone else's. Their path is not yours. Their pace is not yours. Every time you compare, you disconnect from your own direction. What counts for you might look small to someone else, but if it's aligned with your purpose, it's significant. Intentional living also demands gratitude and patience. Progress will come slowly, but when you're living by purpose, the journey itself becomes fulfilling. You stop rushing toward the future because you find meaning in the present. You stop chasing milestones and start appreciating the process. Every day becomes an opportunity to live in alignment, to experience life. When you live intentionally, you also influence others without trying. People feel the calm and focus that radiate from you. They see that you're not controlled by chaos. You become an example of what peace looks like in a noisy world. You remind others that it's possible to live simply, purposefully, and joyfully, even in a world built on distraction. Intentional living is about ownership. You take full responsibility for your choices, your habits, and your direction. You stop blaming circumstances or other people. You stop waiting for the right time or permission. You realize that you are the author of your life, and that realization is freeing. It gives you back your power. Every day life will try to pull you in 100 directions, But when you live intentionally, you stay centered. You know what counts, and that clarity becomes your anchor. You don't waste time arguing about small things. You don't chase validation. You focus your energy on growth, peace, and when you live this way long enough, you'll start to see what truly matters. It's not the noise, the rush, or the recognition. It's the people you love, the work that fulfills you, the growth that shapes you, the peace that comes from knowing you lived with purpose. So live intentionally. Wake up every morning and decide who you want to be. Choose what truly matters and let the rest go. Give your time only to what builds your character, strengthens your peace, and serves your future. Because life is too short to live on autopilot every day as a chance to live with meaning. Don't waste it doing things that don't count. Live on purpose and your life will begin to feel like it was always meant to. Clear, powerful, and truly yours.